Hey, what's going on, people? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. I hope you lot are all doing well today. I really do hope that. Welcome to your match review of Chelsea's 1-1 draw away at St Mary's against Southampton. Chelsea 1, or Southampton 1, Chelsea 1. Goals scored from Minamino and Mason Mount. Lots to crack into today. Player performances, how the game went, what happened exactly. Superb performances from Mason Mount and Gineppo. Interestingly, Salisu won man of the match, which I didn't quite understand. Chelsea remain undefeated under new coach Thomas Tuchel, and they finally conceded a goal from an opposition player. But it's just a bit meh. Anyway, subscribe if you're new. Please do drop a like if you want to show your support to my content. That means a lot. Alright, thanks for that. And let's get into today's review. So yeah, it's quite a deflating result. I said in my match preview that Southampton were due a good result. A lot of their important players are back. Had they lost this game, it would have been 6 in a row, and this would be coming from a team that was so impressive early doors this season, that were top of the league at one point, floating around the top 4. Yes, they've plummeted down and we've gone up, but they were due a good performance, and they had that today. Even though Chelsea were dominant in many of the stats, ultimately they contained us well and looked, dangerous at times themselves. I think the XG, I'll show you the XG on the screen now from the Twitter account, the XG philosophy. Chelsea were double Southampton, which you'd expect at least, but it was still under 2 XG from Chelsea. So for all this domination and control in the midfield and this, the centre backs and the wing backs in the first half, and this sort of perception of complete dominance, you don't actually carve out that much goal scoring chances, which is frustrating. Let's take a quick look at that who scored match graphic for some context in this game. Ralph Hasenhuttl went with his favoured 4-4-2, and I'll say it now, I know we talk about Chelsea player performances shortly, but Gineppo was magnificent. Probably the man of the match for me, if I remove my Mason Mount bias on the Chelsea side. He was incredible. Chelsea went with their 3-4-2-1, but later switched to a 3-4-1-2. With Zuma coming into the centre of the back three. You could say he was culpable for the Minamino goal. Other than that, he was pretty good, but we'll get into player performances. Alonso left wing back, Reece James comes in for right wing back, Tammy returns to the side, and we've got N'Golo Kante in midfield next to Kovacic. Right, so Chelsea dominate the first half, and throughout the match they dominate most of the statistics and control the game, and ultimately it looks like we're going to absolutely, destroy Southampton, who were defending well, but we were creating so much progression that you thought, oh, okay, we're going to, win this game 2 or 3-0 relatively comfortably. Totally against the run of play, Chelsea gets slapped up by a great Redmond pass and a superb cool finish by Minamino, who sits Azpilicueta down, and they are 1-0 up, and we go into the break losing. We do see a half-time change from Thomas Tuchel. He brings on Hudson-odoi for Tammy Abraham, who ends up getting an ice pack. I know he's been injured, but he was poor in this game, and that's exactly the substitution that I personally was calling out for. Chelsea start the second half very well indeed. They come out on top. Mason Mount starts to shine in this game at this point because he's now playing the false 9 behind Hudson-odoi and Timo Werner, and he seems to excel in this role under Thomas Tuchel. Mason Mount earns himself a penalty and converts it calmly to equal the score 1-1. Now Thomas Tuchel makes a further 2 substitutions. He brings on Jorginho in the midfield, which kind of makes sense. A lot of people were calling for him to make a little bit more quicker passes from the engine room. And interestingly enough, he subs Hudson-odoi for Hakim Ziyech. I imagine this is a tactical sub. Certainly it wasn't for injury. Now I imagine this is a tactical thing about getting a left footer on to sort of exploit some form of whatever, footballing reason, because Hudson-odoi actually looked pretty good. He looked threatening. So it's raised a few eyebrows from many Chelsea fans, that substitution from Thomas Tuchel. Anyway, Chelsea have loads of sort of semi-good moments, mostly coming from Mason Mount in the second half. He had a couple of wicked drives forward, when he nutmegged that opposition player and drove into the box and played inwards. Some great moments like that. Ultimately, it never really happens though for Chelsea, and the game sort of fizzles out, and actually the final sort of couple of minutes in stoppage time, Southampton have the better of it. So it's a frustrating one, 1-1, still undefeated, conceded that goal, scored via a penalty. Chelsea often looked sort of toothless lately, not many goals in us. But before we talk about that more, let's go through player performances quickly. In goal, Edouard Mendy didn't have much to do at all. He couldn't really do anything about the Minamino goal. It was pretty darn good. He was was rooted on a Yannick Vestergaard header that hit the post. I'm not sure the keeper would be able to do anything about that. Generally was okay on the ball, decent enough performance from Edu Mendy. Alonso was pretty darn awful in the first half. In fact, loads of people on social media were calling for the substitution of Chilwell. And I understand that he did get a little bit better in the second half, but certainly didn't offer much at all, Marcos Alonso, in this game. Reece James actually pretty darn good at right wing back, getting up and down, defensively good, nearly scored. Mason Mount cut the ball back to him. I think it was Timo Werner or Mason Mount, and he skies it over the crossbar. He needs to get over that ball, but generally I think he had quite a good game. The back three were okay, as Piliqueta will be disappointed that he got sat down for the goal. Rudiger, I think, was okay. Zuma poor for the goal itself, but I think defensively, making blocks, he was pretty good. And he made a couple of excellent long diagonal balls, showing that he can do long passing, but a lot of people would probably quite rightly assume, had Thiago Silva started in that role, we don't concede that goal. In the midfield, N'Golo Kante was magnificent. Now, I know, to be honest, like now I'm saying, but certainly in the first half, he was so good. So good, like 16-17 N'Golo Kante. So, I mean, in my head, I'm thinking of Mason Mount, Chelsea's man of the match, because, won the penalty, scored the penalty, was our most attacking player towards the end, and quite functional and pressing. But in terms of defending, N'Golo Kante was magnificent. Looking back to his best, some people might argue that, yes, that's amazing, but is it helping us move the ball forwards? I'm not so sure on that. Kovacic next to him, I think it was worst game so far this season for Chelsea. Let me know down in the comment section what you think about Kovacic, but very, very poor. I think maybe Anthony Taylor got on his head because he seems to hate Kovacic, so that was disappointing. Werner, first 20 minutes to half an hour, was really, really good as well. Pressing all over the gaff. Generally, I think Werner had a good game. The functionality of the final third is more of a team failure at the moment, I think, rather than someone like Werner. Saying that, Tammy Abraham was pretty darn awful, and I was pleased that he was the halftime sub for Callum Hudson-Odoi. Like I said, that's the substitution I wanted that I tweeted out. So Tammy was pretty darn awful. Mason Mount ultimately saw that we remain undefeated, winning the penalty and converting it coolly, and probably towards the end it looks like our best chance of scoring a winner. So I'm going to give him and N'Golo Kante my joint man of the match awards. I feel bad for Hudson-Odoi because he looked good when he came on, and then obviously got substituted. I don't know the reasons yet. Let me know in the comments. And then Ziyech looked okay. If he scored like a worldie, it would have been the perfect narrative. But that was it, really. So let's move on and talk about the game a little bit more. A win could have been huge for Chelsea in this game before playing Manchester United. If we could have been like a point off them if we beat them or something. So it's disappointing. It's thoroughly disappointing, especially considering how vulnerable the top four race is now. I think Liverpool and West Ham can push us out of the top four. Certainly West Ham can. Anyway, disappointing. We move though. We remain undefeated. Thomas Tuchel's only been here for about a month, and he'll have to sort of iron out these offensive issues. I think what his sort of priority was coming in was making sure Chelsea were better defensively, and certainly he's done that to his credit. Like I said, we've conceded one goal to an opponent, and that's today. And I'm going to stop throwing that statistic out now because it's done. It's done. So it's fine. We're better defensively, but he's going to have to look at moving forwards how to make that incisive pass. Yes, we're solid defensively, but we need more now. We can't rely on Mason Mount nutmegging people and dribbling into the final third. We need better offensive functionality. So anyway, let me know your thoughts, feelings and opinions on this game down in the comment section below. Please do like the video, it helps me out a lot. Consider subscribing if you're new to this experience. Enjoy the football, my friends. And I will. See you later.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy talk. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought. Body bag the verse, outlined in chalk. In my life seen trouble, hustle on the double. Silence on the trigger like my pick got a muzzle. Yo chick like to guzzle, bad boy stay in trouble. I only love this paper, sorry I don't. I laugh me baby.